today in the SPNN Forum, I am sitting down with the lovely Teréz Iacovino from the Katherine E. Nash Gallery. Stay with us. Welcome back to SPNN Forum. I'm your host, Anahita Champion, and it is a delight to be chatting with Teréz Iacovino from the Katherine E. Nash Gallery. Welcome to SPNN.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we are overjoyed because you and the projects you're working on cross multidisciplinary sectors. And before we get into all of it, I always like to start from a few steps back. Tell us a little bit about you and some of your background.
Sure, of course. My name is Teréz Iacovino. I was recently appointed the director of the Katherine E. Nash Gallery, and I'm also co-curator of the exhibition we're going to talk about today, Viven, 21st Century Art of Puerto Rico and its Diaspora. My background is as an artist that segued into curation, and I work with a variety of students, artists over the years at the University of Minnesota, and for this project had the amazing fortune of working with a curator based in Puerto Rico, Jose Lopez Serra.
Oh my gosh. So tell us about your cultural roots and what it was like growing. Were you around arts and culture growing up? I'm so curious.
Yeah, of course. So my background is Puerto Rican and Italian. I always loved to paint, draw, practice studio art. I had a mom who really nurtured that. But I really didn't know that curatorial practice and working with artists and organizing exhibitions was even a thing that I could do until I went to graduate school here at the University of Minnesota. And I was really fortunate to work in the Katherine E. Nash Gallery as a graduate assistant and really learned by doing. And that segued into the opportunity to curate exhibitions and to work with artists in that capacity.
Look at that. So speaking about the gallery, tell us more about what the Katherine E. Nash Gallery history or current day looks like, just to set the tone for the gallery itself.
Of course. So the Katherine E. Nash Gallery is named after Professor Katie E. Nash, who was one of the first women teaching in sculpture at the University of Minnesota. So the gallery is actually going to turn 50 in 2029, but it's been in its current location since 2003. So we have a beautiful 5,000 square foot professional space, and we do rotating contemporary art exhibitions, about 4 exhibitions per year. The gallery also serves as a teaching and learning space for students. We host our Master of Fine Arts thesis exhibition, our Bachelor of Fine Arts thesis exhibition. So it's a mix of professional artists that are coming in and also being able to be supported by students and students that are aspiring to be professional artists and seeing what that looks like from the inside.
That's amazing. So it's directly correlated to programs at the University of Minnesota, or is it in addition?
It's in addition to, and then it's also connected to some of these programs that are these annual exhibitions that we host.
Wow. Where's the location of the gallery?
The gallery is located at 405 21st Avenue South on the West Bank.
Okay.
Really close to Rare Rig Theater, School of Theater and Dance, and the Barbara Barker Dance building. So we're right there, really in Cedar Riverside, right on the edge.
Sure. I'm personally familiar because that's where I attended and did lots of fun courses there too. And is the gallery in general open to the public, or is it more of a private invite situation?
Yeah, our gallery is open to the public, and all of our exhibitions and programming are free. So we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 5. Right now, when you arrive, you just have to call a number to be let into the building. Okay. But we're completely free and open to the public.
I love it. Well, let's dive in to this exhibition that you are the co-curator of. Speak about your co-curator a little bit, because that part really intrigued me, because he's currently in Puerto Rico.
Yes, well, he's actually currently driving around northern Minnesota right now to see Lake Superior. We had our huge celebratory event this Saturday, and so he stayed a few extra days to explore northern Minnesota. But my co-curator, Jose Lopez Serra, was born, raised, and educated in Puerto Rico, went to the University of Puerto Rico in Rio Piedras, and started an art space in 2015 called Hidrante with a group of friends. And now he runs that space and has expanded into multiple locations, one in San German, an artist residency, And he's really doing some incredible work there, not only in the visual arts, but also in dance and performance.
Oh, wow.
And so when I knew that I wanted to curate an exhibition on contemporary Puerto Rican art, as someone who was Puerto Rican and was very much estranged from my Puerto Ricanness,
Okay.
I sought to kind of explore that by delving into how I could learn about Puerto Rican culture through contemporary art. And I knew that I wanted to work with a curator who was really embedded in that local artistic scene there.
Sure.
So like one does, I reached out to him on Instagram.
How did you find him?
I found him online,
Okay.
on Instagram, just like researching different artistic spaces in Puerto Rico.
We love Instagram for
Right, right. So like a blind, direct message, and said, would you be interested in collaborating with a curator based in Minnesota? And that really started things off that was like July of 2021.
Wow.
And now here we are. So over the years between working together to raise funds to do the exhibition, we were fortunate to receive an Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts Curatorial Fellowship, thank you.
Amazing.
That enabled us to travel and really make direct on-the-ground connections with artists,
Really?
both in Puerto Rico and all across the U.S.
Where did you travel to?
We traveled to Philadelphia, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and various parts of Puerto Rico.
So really gathering what you can call research. The grants was it a grant?
Yes.
It was really helpful in funding it, but also really letting you touch on different areas that bring inspiration. But did you meet some of the artists that are part of the expedition today?
Yes, so during those travels, we did studio visits, and some folks really were folks that were more well-known within the contemporary art scene, but other folks were really more emerging. And so the exhibition really spans this intergenerational mix of 43 artists, and many came out of those studio visits that are now included in this exhibition.
Oh my gosh.
We also traveled to Florida. I want to add that one too.
Oh, okay. It's important. I mean,
Yeah.
that really gave the two of you a lot of scope and a lot of scale.
Absolutely. And we were really interested in showcasing the diaspora, the Puerto Rican diaspora outside of New York. So much of the diaspora gets talked about in relation to New York City, which of course is very important, the Nuyorican arts movement. And we have a variety of Nuyoricans, Puerto Ricans born and raised in New York or really rooted in New York in the exhibition. Wow. But it was really important to us to expand that conversation beyond the New York diaspora and also beyond the archipelago in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so now I want to talk about the diaspora because that could be a whole conversation on its own. But say that again, the New York and the Puerto Rican combination.
The Nuyorican diaspora.
Nuyorican, and then we have Puerto Ricans.
Yes.
Puerto Rican. So do other states like kind of abbreviate and combine those two, like a Florida Rican?
Absolutely. I've heard of Florida Rican, Boriflores. I've heard of LA Ricans, Chicago Ricans, Philly Ricans.
That's kind of fun because it does kind of, it showcases the root of it, which is Puerto Rican, but
yes.
where it currently is. So speaking of the diaspora and all the different influences and the history of all of it, Puerto Rico we were talking about this, Black and Caribbean history.
Of course,
and
yes.
roots to it. Talk
yes.
a little bit about that and maybe what we can expect with the gallery.
Absolutely. So we knew that when we were organizing this exhibition, we were thinking about ways that Puerto Rican artists had been represented in recent years in various exhibitions or the media. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that surrounded narratives around disaster in relation to Hurricane Maria and resiliency. And we knew that we wanted to acknowledge those things for sure within the exhibition and the importance of that. And we learned a lot from exhibitions that had focused on those topics in previous years. But we also knew that we really wanted to expand that conversation in terms of, especially for my co-curator, thinking about representation beyond disaster. And so when we were thinking about the heart of what it is to be Puerto Rican, it really is tied back to diaspora in terms of the roots of, the Caribbean really being the beginning of the slave trade, and also those roots tied into the merging of both indigenous Black and in turn creating the Caribbean culture that comes out of Puerto Rico. And so, for example, within our exhibition, we were really conscious of wanting to have a wide variety of representation from various Puerto Rican voices, not only in the artists that are seen in the exhibition, but also in our catalog writers. So one example I could point to in terms of a work in the show, we have an artist, Joey Quiñones, who is a Nuyorican, had lived in Ohio for a long time, is now based in Michigan. And as a Black queer woman, her piece really talks about colorism that she experiences within her own family, but also in relation to when she travels to Puerto Rico.
Sure.
But also thinking about, what does it mean to come from Puerto Rico as a Puerto Rican artist and also become racialized when you come to the United States.
Are we going to see in the exhibition an expression of identity? Because I feel like that is a huge component when you have Puerto Ricans raised in the U.S. or multicultural backgrounds. I mean, Puerto Rico is an extension of the U.S. They're not immigrants in the same way that somebody from an Asian country is coming. They have their American citizenship.
Right.
So I'm really curious if you have an example to share with us as a teaser, a sample that we might be able to see in the gallery that expands on identity and what that means. Absolutely.
There's a variety of works that do that. Right when you walk into the exhibition, one of the first works you encounter is by an artist named Nitze Tufino, who's 76 years old, who's of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent. Okay. Her father was Rafael Tufino, who's very well known in Puerto Rican graphic arts. Her mother was a dancer who was part of Frida Kahlo's entourage, so she comes from this, very incredibly artistic family. But her piece called Tenderete, which means like clothesline, is these essentially mixed media banners that really showcase her identity both as, she identifies as Mexican.
Okay.
So as both Mexican and Puerto Rican, looking at family photos, history, but also key political figures that were tied to her family and tied to various movements in Puerto Rico and in the Puerto Rican diaspora.
Wow.
And so it's also a little bit reminiscent of papel picado in terms of the way that banners or flags from Mexico are used in like a celebratory sense. But it really ties into thinking about the archive being on display, right? Often archives are locked away or they feel very kind of sequestered. This is really thinking about what does it mean to not hang the dirty laundry, but hang out the laundry to really explore family, political history.
Right. That's such a beautiful metaphor. It's not airing your dirty laundry, but you're expressing and you're showcasing, and it's a way of talking about it. So if we can only fathom what to expect. So let's talk about the gallery itself. So it's currently underway. It began September 6th. 9th?
September 9th,
So it's already going.
It's already going.
When does it go until?
So the exhibition runs through December 6th.
Okay.
And we have a variety of related events planned as well.
Okay, so let's talk about what to expect. What can we expect as far as when we get there, what it's like in this space? What do you want us to touch on or observe when we're in this space?
So the space really reflects, I think, the richness of the artistic production of Puerto Ricans. So we have every kind of medium in there. You'll see paintings, you'll see printmaking, you'll see video, you'll see sculpture. There's a sculpture you can sit on. There's a sound work. There are photography. There are objects you can interact with where you peer into a portal and an image is revealed. Right. So there's really a variety of objects across the gallery, and also some that are more representational, so figurative, photographic based, and then some that are more abstract or architectural. So we really wanted to show the breadth and depth of Puerto Rican artistic production and not just showcase one kind of making.
This sounds like a wide breadth of the creative arts. So it's just going to we're just going to have to go see it. If you're just tuning in now, my name is Anahita Champion, and I am sitting down with Teréz Iacovino from the Katherine E. Nash Gallery, and we're talking about the amazing exhibition that is currently underway. Tell us a little more about the name of it and the dates.
Of course. So the exhibition is Vaiven, 21st Century Art of Puerto Rico and its Diaspora. And Vaiven comes from the word vai-y-ven, which means the coming and going, the back and forth. If you're a Daddy Yankee fan, there's the song Vaiven,
Yes.
which can also mean the sway, the oscillation.
Speak my language.
But really what the word typically speaks to is the supposed ease that Puerto Ricans travel back and forth between the United States.
Sure.
But we're taking that concept and really thinking of it in terms of years of Puerto Rican migration and really thinking about the psychological and cultural effects of Vaiven, whether that be cultural exchange between the archipelago and the U.S., whether that be the cultural exchange of sort of collaboration that happened between myself and my curator, right? Myself being based in Minnesota, my co-curator based in Puerto Rico. So just taking that word Vaiven and really expanding that definition to have a lot of different entry points into the exhibition.
So you just had the kickoff event. What was that like? Take us back a couple of few days or so.
We had a beautiful celebration on Saturday. We had over a dozen of the artists come in from all over, including Tennessee, Philadelphia, Puerto Rico, Chicago, New York. And we had a beautiful performance by the Rico Cultural Center of a bomba dance and drum performance. We had the Rep Who Raps, Maria Isa.
We love Maria Isa.
Maria Isa came, presented a beautiful award to one of the artists' groups in the exhibition, Colectivo Morivivi. Part of the exhibition focused on creating this commission of 2 sister murals because we have such an incredible muralism scene and community here in Minnesota, but also in Puerto Rico. So Olivia Levins Holden, who's a local Puerto Rican artist who is here in Minnesota, and then Colectivo Morivivi, which is a collective of young women and non-binary artists in Puerto Rico, came together and collaborated on a mural commission that will be installed next summer, both in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, and then in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico.
Oh my gosh, that's more reason to travel.
And you can see a small sampling of the mural in the exhibition in our lobby.
Sure. Okay, so how many artists or displays can we see at the gallery?
There's about 110 objects in the exhibition between 43 artists across the show. So there's a lot to experience. There's also a theater of film that's about a 2-hour-long compilation across 5 artists. Okay. So it's definitely the kind of show you can come and visit again and again.
Okay.
Because you might not catch everything in one visit.
Right, it's like the Minnesota State Fair, you have to go back a few times.
Exactly.
So we could come for the day and spend a few hours, or we can come back several different times. And it's ticketed, or?
Not at all. You just come, you visit, free and open to the public.
Oh my gosh, wonderful. So that's going on right now until December 6th. You have something special coming up in October. Tell me about that. October 8th.
Yes, on October 8th, from 4 to 6, we have this beautiful panel that is going to be happening on the East Bank at what's called the Liberal Arts Engagement Hub. So it's at Pillsbury Hall on the University of Minnesota campus. We are working with Tabitha Cruz, who is a PhD student in the College of Education, but who was a 2022 Center for Puerto Ricans Fellow who did research on Puerto Rican migration to Minnesota.
Wow.
So Tabitha is going to be presenting this project, Becoming Puerto Ricans, which is what this panel is entitled, that really gives a little taste of the history of Puerto Rican migration to Minnesota, but then we'll be in conversation with 3 Puerto Rican elders who are instrumental in the arts and cultural scene here. And those folks include Ricardo Levins Morales, Luis Ortega, and Elsa Perez Vega.
Oh my gosh. So our former executive director, Xavier Vasquez, is Puerto Rican, and he's now at Centro Tyrone Guzman, and they have a program that really focuses on the elders. And I've had a chance to get a quick peek into just the stories and the cultural roots of Puerto Rican elders, and it is one to just be so grateful and appreciate. So I can only imagine what this panel is going to be like. But tell me the time again and the location.
So this will be on Wednesday, October 8th,
Okay.
From 4 to 6. Between like 4 and 4:30, it's more like a kind of meet and greet, have a snack. We'll have food from a Puerto Rican caterer, so you'll be able to enjoy that. It's at Pillsbury Hall on the University of Minnesota campus at the Liberal Arts Engagement Hub.
Wonderful.
And that'll be a beautiful panel moderated by Tabitha Cruz.
Okay. Good for her. That's probably been a fun project. And I'm also eager to hear how all these different campaigns and projects have really ignited or influenced these artists and people like Tabitha. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Okay, so now let's move forward to November. There's even more coming up in November.
Yes, in November, we are going to have a screening of a documentary on Bomba, made by Yasmira Calon, who produced the documentary in collaboration with the help of SPNN.
Right here.
Right here in the studio. And that is taking place on Saturday, November 15th.
Okay.
I believe at 2 p.m. Once again, there'll be snacks.
We do like snacks.
Everyone likes snacks. And we're really excited to showcase Yasmira's documentary, but then she will also be in conversation with the dancers and the drummers that are featured in the documentary afterward.
Oh my gosh.
And these same folks were just at the gallery this past Saturday night, September 13th, performing as part of the Borinquen Cultural Center Bomba group.
Oh, wow.
So it's just this nice sort of full circle of
Absolutely.
having people return to the space and really be able to talk about the beauty and the history of Bomba.
Yeah.
And its importance in really activating space and bringing together community for us around this exhibition.
Oh my gosh. And well, yes, snacks can do that. We break bread together, but also the power of music and dance. And it can be very empowering, it can be very moving, it can be very uplifting, it could be very storytelling and narrative. So that is a documentary. How long is it?
It's about a little under 15 minutes.
Okay, so
So a nice short, yeah, and then really to
digestible.
open it up for conversation.
Afterwards, is there a
Yes.
panel to talk
Yes.
about? Okay, wonderful. And the date again on that
Is
is
Saturday, November 15th, starting at 2 p.m.
excellent. But we have more to come. We have something coming up in December. Talk about what people can expect.
Yeah, we have a great closing event in December 2nd at 5 p.m. at the Cowles Auditorium, which is right walking distance from the Katherine E. Nash Gallery.
Okay.
We're going to have Puerto Rican scholar Jarrell Melendez-Bedillo give a lecture on his new book, Puerto Rico and National History. He teaches at the University of Madison, Wisconsin. And then following that lecture, we're going to have a reception over at the Katherine E. Nash Gallery to close out the exhibition, which will end on December 6th, that Saturday.
Oh, so a nice celebration to bring everything together. And I can only anticipate at what you two are going to feel like when you're co-creator, because that's the last four plus years of all the work for this exhibition.
Yeah.
And then celebrate with the community. I imagine there's some snacks.
There's always snacks. There's always snacks.
And then folks still have a few days to still get in before the 6th concludes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of this.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm very excited for what the community is about to experience and all your hard work and dedication coming together. What have you heard from some of the artists about how this experience has meant to them?
Like I said, we had about a dozen folks come in from out of town for the celebration, and it was just, this beautiful, and for many, a reunion for folks that hadn't seen each other in years because they've been living all across the diaspora, but maybe they had met early on in their careers in New York or Puerto Rico. And just hearing so many beautiful comments about the care that went into this and really being able to have all these folks in conversation across generations and across media has been so special. And the fact that it happened here in Minnesota, which I think is a place that folks don't always think about as a place of Puerto Ricans, but we are here.
Yes, you are.
Soda Ricans and recent folks. And so it's been a really beautiful experience, just feeling so much love from both community and the artists that are involved in the exhibition.
That is really beautiful, and hopefully folks can keep in touch as friends and as community, go on an art retreat or travel or whatnot. And where can folks find details for all of the information we shared? Because it was a lot of goodness.
Yeah, everything is on our website at at nash.umn.edu.
Okay.
So if you go to that website, you can find all the details on related events, our programming, and how to purchase our exhibition catalog if you're interested too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Teréz. We have had a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will see you on the next episode of SPNN Forum. Thanks again.